Hey everybody out there, it's Chris, it's the Mad Respect. Back again with another video today. This morning, I received my shipment for the last week of January from the Discount Comic Book Service. We're back into the great big Diamond Distributors box for this week, and we'll see why when we open it up in a few minutes. But let's kick off the video with some reviews of the comics from my last shipment. Starting with Punisher number 9. This is issue 9. This is cover B by Jin Gun Yoon. And the Punisher is by Jason Aaron with art by Jesus Saez and flashback art by Paul Azuqueta. This is the final showdown between the Punisher and Ares, the god of war. And the Punisher goes full beast uh, on Ares and his army, and uh, pretty much at the end puts one in the head of Ares, and then it shows Wolverine, Daredevil, Doctor Strange, and maybe a few other people. They're all meeting at the end, saying it's time to finally do something about Frank Castle. So, and the new issue of Daredevil that I think is coming out next week has Daredevil fighting the Punisher on the cover. So I don't know if Daredevil and the Punisher are gonna link up like at the same time or in separate stories, but we shall find out. Second book, there's Nightclub issue number 2. This is by Mark Millar and Netflix for Image. Uh, art by Juan and Ramirez. This is the second part of this. I think it's listed as a 5-issue miniseries. And this goes with a cover price of $1.99. So what you see is what you get, and you're getting it at the lowest price in mainstream comics. And the second issue was a huge step up from issue number 1, which was basically all just an introduction to the main character, and then a small part of how he becomes a vampire. In this one, he reveals his vampirism to both his friends, turns them both, and then now they're all going to be the cocks of the walk at high school and beating up the bullies and whatnot. But yeah, definitely a more briskly paced and entertaining comic than issue number 1. Here's one I was looking forward to a lot last year when I saw the solicitation. This is Trojan number 1 from AWA. This is cover A by Jeff DeCall. Uh, and this is by Daniel Krause. I talk about Daniel Krause on my channel. He finished The Living Dead, which was George Romero's prequel to Night of the Living Dead that he began before his demise, and Daniel Krause was picked to uh, take the notes and the existing text and then expand upon it and finish it. That came out a few years back. He was also the screenwriter on The Shape of Water for Guillermo del Toro. It's an Oscar-winning film. And for comics, he is currently doing Year Zero, Volume Zero, also for AWA. And he did The Autumnal for Vault. And I think he's doing one other title right now. You watch my other videos, I talk about Daniel Cause a lot, but this one, the art is by Lacey. I was told, I mean, it was said in press that Lacey's art was going to pop off the page and it's going to be a instant new classic style, which that sort of description to me stinks more of Alex Ross. That's someone who, when I flipped open the first Alex Ross book I ever read, and that art really blew my mind out of the back of my skull a little bit. Whereas this is kind of at first when I was looking through it, it reminded me more of say Mike Diodato clone type of art, but actually when combined with actually reading the story with it, the art did didn't happen to grow on me, uh, and it's okay. It's not a new classic standard of art. I think that is more. I think you can bookmark that new classic style of art more to someone, say like a Dan Mora or cover art for like a Jenny Friesen. So, but interesting start. I'm not as bummed now. I'll probably enjoy finishing that series. Here is House of Slaughter, issue number 11. This is the Danny Luckert connecting cardstock variant. Not sure which. This cover C probably. But this is the continuation of Jace Boucher's story from the first arc of House of Slaughter. And this takes place probably around issue before issue 9 of Something's Killing the Children, because according to Jace's totem demon, they have their totems and their little stuffed animals. He has both his totem and what's Fancy's name? Aaron. He has Aaron's totem and his own totem that he's carrying around. And Aaron's totem is telling Jace that uh, Aaron is still fine. So if that is the case, if the totem is not lying, then this issue has to take place before issue 9 of Something's Killing the Children, in which Aaron dies. And this also introduces another member of the House of Boucher. Uh, uh, Basically, the House of Boucher is more about saving children of attacks and then training them to go out there to not only fight the monsters but also save other children and take them in and make sure they turn out all right after the monster attacks. So at the end of this, you see the grown-up version of someone he saved earlier in his career with the House of Boucher, but he is solo. He is saving kids on his own, uh, and isn't wanting to teach them the art of monster killing. He just wants to keep kids safe. That's his new thing, and he's waiting for Aaron to come back. Uh, uh, but as we know, Aaron dies in issue 9 of Something's Killing the Children, so at some point he's going to receive that news, and I don't think he's going to take it very well. Speaking of Something is Killing the Children, this is the most current issue. This is number 28 by James Tynion IV with Werther Dell'Otera and Miguel Morto. Uh, at last, Erica Slaughter and Cutter meet. As I said in my last video about the exploited children, the sheriff and Cutter are working together to have Erica brought in. Excuse me, to have Erica brought into the station. So basically, so Cutter can kill her, because Cutter is posing as an FBI agent. So the cop doesn't know any better. He thinks Erica's responsible for all the child murders. But as soon as Cutter shows up at the police station, she murders all the cops in the lobby, and then goes into the interrogation room with the sheriff and Erica, and then proceeds to knock out the sheriff, uncuff Erica, and say, "You have two choices. You can just sit here and wait for him to wake up, at which point he'll see that you've murdered all the policemen in this building, and we'll see how that ends up for you, or you can go on the run, and I will act like you overpowered me and are now on the run, and we'll still hunt you down. So you can either have the head start or not." And on the last page, Erica is like, uh, fuck, 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 fuck. Yeah, so she's not too much about that. So this is the middle part of this story arc for Something's Killing the Children. Here's one. Nightfall double feature from Vault Comics. Here we go. This is the other Daniel Krauss book. Currently, he is doing Denizen. There's a story here called Denizen. The other one is called The Cemeterians. Cemeterians is basically, there's the tagline for Dawn of the Dead: "When there is no more room in hell, the dead will walk the earth." Well, the tagline for the Cemeterians is, "When there is no more room in death, the bones will uh, the bones will show up back on Earth. All dead matter, bone matter in particular, is returning in inanimate objects such as pillows, stuffed animals, and in this issue, it's showing up in airplanes and automobiles and bicycles. So nothing pretty much is safe. So by the middle third of the second part of the story, our characters are on foot because they can't even ride bicycles because they're uh, uh, finding out the bones. There's no more room for the dead, at least buried dead, uh, to remain in the afterlife. So the bones will just, when you bury some of the bones, are going to come right back up in some inanimate object. And then Denizen, it's by Daniel Krause and Chris Sheehan, and they're reteaming up. They were originally on the Autumnal together. Let me make sure that's right. Oh, actually, Daniel Krause is doing the Cemeterians. Daniel Krause is the writer for the Cemeterians, which I was just discussing. And the art on that is by Monhouse. And then Tim Daniel and David Andre, Tim Daniel of The Plot, uh, from Vault a few years back. And the art there is by Chris Sheehan of The Autumnal. So they're kind of swapping artists here. And basically, Denizen's about a family who's on a long road trip with their car, and their car breaks down. And the strip motel they've pulled into is possessed. So everyone in the family is being either the mother is now possessed, and the father is taking the demon's lead. The demon is like making sexual overtures towards him, and then when he goes to reciprocate to the wife, the demon leaves her, and then she's all like, "Why would you touch me in front of the kids?" So it's all getting all fucked up for this husband, and he is getting visions of his ex-wife, who he had to watch die at the hospital. So that's what's going on for him in that one. And now for the goods, here's World's Finest number 11. This is by the dream team of Dan Mora, with art by Dan Mora, colors by Tamara Bonvillain. This is the conclusion to the Strange Visitor arc, which is the Boy Thunder character who is a Superman archetype, but who comes from mm, another dimension's Gotham City. So uh, he has the powers of Superman, but he came from Gotham City, shot through the multiverse in a rocket, a la Superman. Uh, and then in the last issue, you find out after being tortured by the Joker, when he is freed, he becomes super violent and is attacking the Joker and is about to murder the Joker and says, "If I ever see you again, if you ever touch me again, I will kill you." And it shows a flash forward to him being Magog from Kingdom Come. And at the end of this issue, you find out the key has implanted mental triggers in Boy Thunder's mind that helps the key follow them to the Fortress of Solitude, where Superman, Robin are there with him, and Batman's on the way, and they're going to depower Boy Thunder with the red kryptonite. And then Superman goes, "No, I'm not going to depower you with the red kryptonite. Uh, if anyone should be depowered, it's me because I failed you, basically." And a lot of people online are getting kind of tired of Superman uh, lifting up other characters. We'll be talking about that here in the next book, but lifting up other characters and saying that, "Oh, you're so much better than me." But my ideal of Superman is he uh, he grew up human. He loves humanity. Uh, all he wants to do is lift up humanity and bring everybody to his level of perfection. That's why a lot of people respect and love Superman. But a lot of people online don't like that aspect of Superman. But so after he decides not to depower him, they have to fight off the Key, who has followed them to the Fortress of Solitude, and then they managed to knock out the key, but then the key has turned on a dimensional vibrator sort of thing that is reacting with the Boy Thunder since he's from the other dimension. There's no way they can shut it off in time without the Flash, who they cannot find at this moment. They can't find Kid Flash. So basically, David, Boy Thunder, is going to be zapped back through the multiverse, and I don't know where. And Superman says, "I am going to find you." And Robin's like, "I believe you, Superman, because like you said, you never lie. You're going to find David." And then when they show David on the final tease page, he's there with Gog, and Gog's like, "David, uh, I've been waiting for you. It's time to start your training. My name is Gog." So that is a direct lead into what happens in Kingdom Come. So, so I don't know if the Superman in Kingdom Come is from this new dimension he just went to, or if he makes it back to Prime Dimension. But and here's one that I have a little bone to pick about with the community. This is Nightwing number 100. This is the this is cover B by Wraparound by Jamal Campbell. I like it. It starts Jack here. He's Robin. All the different forms of the Nightwing suit into being Damian's Batman. New 52 suit. Next Rebirth suit. Now his current new Ultimate Frontier suit. I'm sorry, I have the burps. I apologize. But I heard a lot of bitching and complaining about this issue online, mainly from the review site that tears their comics, that I will not mention by name, but just know that when if you watch the reviews, they're going to tear up comics. They didn't tear up this issue, but I'm surprised they didn't. But their whole issue was it's just a criticism of prisons in America, and then other channels were complaining about this meeting up of Bruce and Dick at Alfred's grave, and that Dick would hug his father. I'm sorry, nobody had a good enough relationship with their father to want that. I wish I could have had it. Anyway, and we'll jump to three issues that conclude a miniseries. We have Mindset. This is the end of Mindset. This is by Zach Kaplan and John Pearson. Uh, I like the series. It was pretty good. We got it kind of meandered in the middle, but and by the time it ended, I didn't really care how this guy was going to get out of things. But at the end, you find out that he's still being controlled by the mindset, and everybody was controlled by him. So it was anticlimactic and one of the best endings of the series. Here's issue 5 of Crashing by Matthew Klein and Morgan Beam, colors by Trina Farrell. This is a cool ending. She went back to using drugs. She was fired by her boss. She's still being stalked by the super criminal that she's been the private doctor for on the back, who has kidnapped her husband, who now wants a divorce because he found out that she was the person who killed his sister in a car accident, which she blamed on superpowered people, which put him on this Mad Ben for super people. So he made basically like a superhero registration act, a la Civil War, because he's like a political, like a governor or something, or he's going to be the mayor, one or the other. But so at the end of this, she's signing the divorce papers, and now she's running a secret like night nurse sort of thing for superheroes, uh, because she can no longer practice above board because of her actions in this and being being a recovering addict. So the good series. I'm a recovering addict, so I got a lot out of the subtext of that series. And here is 10,000 Black Feathers. This is issue number 5. Final issue here. This is the Bone Orchard Mythos by Jeff Lemire, Andrea Sorrentino, and Dave Stewart. And ah, pretty good. I probably enjoyed the standalone graphic novel, The Passageway, a little better, because I checked it out from the library for free. Nah, that had nothing to do with it. I don't mind paying for my comics. Uh, and this one, I like floppies more than like trades, because yeah. And then in the future, stuff like this or this, I'm gonna be more selective with my miniseries buying, and start getting more of my miniseries from the library later on down the line, because I wait about a good like 6 months to a year after the final issue of something is published before it finally wings its way to me at the library. And sometimes if it's something more popular, it happens a little quicker than that. But anyway, here is the last of the new books from my last box. I have a couple more things we're going to talk about, but this is Batman One Bad Day Bane. Uh, this introduces Bane 10 years in the future. He's retired as a supervillain. He's working as a luchador wrestler in Mexico. Uh, and he wrestles jobbers who dress up as Batman in the ring and breaks them. Uh, and then, man. And then he tells the story of his final stand with Batman, where they both team up together to try to eradicate all the venom in the world. And there's another character called, I can't remember his name, something about being strong. I can't remember what his name is. I don't know if he exists in other previous Bane comics or if Joshua Longson created him for this. Let's see, Grudge. So they track down where the supply of venom is being created and distributed in Gotham, and then they find this guy Grudge there. He's basically a guy who's all jacked on venom, more so even than Bane. So between the two of them, they're able to fight him to a standstill. But then just touching this Grudge guy gets you like skin to skin contact gets you and get you rehooked on venom. So Batman uh, is doing the hand to hand fighting with him while Bane is trying to set off an EMP. And Batman says, I can't live strung out on this venom anymore. Just set off the EMP. As long as Grudge is taken care of, don't worry about what happened to me. So it alludes to the fact that when Bane sets off the EMP, Batman dies. And then in the future, a boy comes to Bane there in Mexico and says, I want to give you this vial of venom because it seems like even though you're in pretty good physical shape, you should be back on it, bait your peak self. And Bane's like, I worked a long time to get off venom. Where'd you get that? And he's like, well, he's like, the reason I came here is I know where they're distributing it here back in the States, so you have to come with me. And he's like, yeah, I'll come with you, and we'll shut it down again. And then he tells that story about his last interactions with Batman. And then they go and they find the lab where it's being prepared. And it's being prepared by the original doctor who created Venom back in the original story arc by Dennis O'Neil in Legends of the Dark Knight. Uh, and he's all jacked up on Venom as well. And he's been alive this whole time. And he considers Bane the pinnacle of the effectiveness of Venom. But then Bane ends up taking him out and closing down the lab. And at the end, you find out Batman is still alive. And Bane's like, he's like, now that all the venom is gone, I want my final battle with you. I want to die fighting you, Batman. And then you find out it's not Batman; it's just Bruce Wayne in his suit. and Bruce Wayne is all retired, but you can see he's still pretty jacked, and he's still got venom in him, and he's like, I spent a lot of time after Batman, uh, directing my energies to something more positive and uplifting. I want you to do that, Bane. And then after you have done this good in the world, then we can have our final conflict. So then him and the boy at the end, they're leaving Mexico to go back to the States and be basically anti-heroes, it looks like. So that was a good issue of the One Bad Day there. And we'll close up these reviews with a couple of things I got from Comics Tribe, John Lee's related. This is a Howling Comic Fest quilt. This is from the same creative team of John Lees and Ian Laurie, who did And Then Emily Was Gone miniseries for Comics Tribe, which was Trip. If you ever read that, you can check that out. But this is not directly related to And Then Emily Was Gone. This is a different character. This reminds me a lot of the more recent miniseries Slumber from Image. She's basically a dream doctor who can go into uh, she more analyzes a person's dreams and can help alleviate nightmares. But at the end of this, she actually does end up going uh, physically into the dream state with the person she's hired by, uh, and then ends up being trapped by all these demons uh, in his dreams. So then at the end, you see him, and he's like, "Oh, I'm just fine. The doctor did great work for me. I'm sorry she's in a coma." And you see her in the bed in the coma, but then you see her inside his dream, inside the locked closet with all these demons, and she's like, help me escape." So this came first. So maybe the people who created Slumber, which was kind of like more like a dream mercenary, like a mercenary who will go in your dreams and kill your nightmares. That was the point of Slumber, but this reminds me a lot of Slumber and came first, even though I read it after. So I'm just noting those similarities. And last, we have the Standard. This is the deluxe hardcover edition. This is by John Lees. This is his first published work, I believe, with art by Jonathan Rector. And this is John Lees doing straight up superhero comic. It's basically this character is like called the Standard. Uh, he's kind of like a cross between Superman and the Flash, as in he has the flight and invulnerability powers of Superman, but he obtained his powers in a lab accident by being struck by lightning with chemicals in his lab. And that's how he obtains his powers. And this takes place 20 years later, where the original Standard has retired as an old man and has left his has passed down the mantle to his what would you call him? His Robin type figure, who is called Fabulad. The Fabulad is a young boy who comes to him. Or no, he finds him driving home one night, and he's all beat up in the road. And he's like, "What happened to you, son?" And he's like, "I ran away from my home situation. It wasn't good. I need you to take me in. Uh, I'm sorry, but I know you're rich, and I just figure you're a decent man. Can you please take me in?" And then he does take him in, and he explains that he is the Standard. And he's like, "Well, I'm gonna train you, and you can be my son, but eventually, I want you to go back and tell your parents that you're alive." And he's like, "I can never go back to my parents. It just doesn't work." And it alludes to the fact that he was sexually abused by his uh, stepfather. So, in the original Standard, the scene, he just wants to do something. So then, in the first issue of this, Fabulad has grown up and has replaced him as the Standard. But by the end of it, he's murdered by an unknown villain, and so the older version of the Standard has to suit up again to complete the younger Standard's final case, which was finding a missing child because he was molested as a child. He takes child abduction seriously, So they both do. So he does go and he finds the girl who was abducted and uncovers the conspiracy behind uh, his ward's murder, uh, the the younger Standard's murder. He discovers the conspiracy behind that and has a generational villain, an evil father type Lex Luthor figure who hands down his brilliance to his daughter, who on the surface is trying to prove that even though dad was evil, I'm using my uh, brilliance just to make the world a better place. But at the end, you find out that she is also just as evil as he is at the end, because she's beating people to death, and she created a clone of the Standard, who is the guy who murdered the younger Standard because he wanted to retire. So he's like, clone me so that there will be a Standard out there in the world. But it turned out bad, and this clone is like just basically all deformed and monstrous. So at the end, the older Standard has to defeat this evil Standard, but he understands that that guy never really wanted to live in the first place. So he has to kind of like close the door on losing his son and that. And at the very end, he goes to Verbilad's real mother and says, he was the Standard that you know most recently, and I want you to know. And she's like, oh, I just hope he knows that we were proud of him. And then he's like, yeah, he knows, he knows. So it's pretty powerful. I enjoyed that. So some comments I just really get into like that. So let's get into this week's books. We're putting up with more reviews. Anybody who watches my videos, uh, if you want to see me do review specific videos and leave the unboxings to their own video, let me know about that down in the comments. But if you don't have a problem with it, that's fine. I'm just curious what people think. Alright, I'm gonna leave here's this week's books. And then there's something else in here that we'll leave in the box till the end. And we'll show it off after the books. The regular books. Huh. This is interesting. Like I'm getting Marvel previews 2 weeks in a row. Double bagging it. Oh man. This week's oh, it's not taped on there this time. This week's invoice, 20 items for the last week. Yeah, I guess my next box is preparing for shipment, and it has Marvel previews in there. But this box also has Marvel previews. So this is pre-previews January for March. I've already ordered my March comics from Discount Comic Book Service. So I'm guessing the one that's coming in next week's box will be the February for April. Which those books are going to go on to the Discount Comic Book Services site next week sometime. Uh, Usually happens like a little between the 5th and 7th of the month. They open up new orders. So this is the new Doctor Strange by Jed MacKay and Pascal Ferry with Alex Ross cover. Uh, I'm not reading Strange. I'm getting the first trade from the Library of Strange in the near future. Uh, but I'm not going to collect Doctor Strange either. But speaking of Jed McKay is going to be taking over Avengers in May. I'm looking quite forward to that. I've been wanting to collect an Avengers series since I've gotten back into the hobby, like monthly hobby. But Jason Aaron was way deep into the run when I came back at came back in June of 2020. So his run was deep, like almost issue 50 then. So I couldn't jump on. But I'm really looking forward to jumping on to Jed McKay written Avengers book. All right, book number one from the last week of January is Star Wars: The Blade, issue number 2. This is cover A. Cover A is Giuseppe Camuncoli. Uh, the series is by Charles Soule with art by Castillo. So book number 1. And second copy. I usually don't get 2 copies of miniseries, but I'm wishing I would have gotten 2 copies of each issue of whatever the High Republic miniseries was at Marvel for the first series, because it had the first appearance of the Jedi monster or whatever, and then it had the explosion of the Starlight Beacon in the final issue. So that issue pops and is worth like $30, and I only have like the B cover. I never was able to get an A cover. Here is Creepshow, issue number 5. This is cover A by Chris Burnham. Pretty awesome. It shows the creeper and little girl, and they're at the spinner rack. It's nostalgia for old school comic fans there. Here's The Amazing Spider-Man, issue number 18. This is classic homage to, I believe this is Spider-Man number 100. This is by Rod Stegman. Great. Here is Junkyard Joe, issue number 4 by Jeff Johns and Gary Frank. Probably cover D. Oh, this is just cover A. I'm trying to get the scary looking covers like this. Not scary looking, but like nice looking robotic face covers like that. Here is Sergeant Rock versus the Army of the Dead. This is issue 5 of 6, penultimate issue, written by Groovy Bruce Campbell with art by Eduardo Rizzo. This is cover A by Gary Frank. Their cover. Here is Thor, issue number 30. This is by Torrin Gronbook now, and art by Nick Klein. A cover by Nick Klein. Indeed, A cover by Nick Klein. Legacy of Thanos Part 2. Here is the next book into the Massive Verse. This is Inferno Girl Red, issue 1 of 3. This is just the cover A. Yep, just the cover A. Cover A by Erica Dirso. Erica Dirso, who is the writer of the series. Writer artist, maybe? She's obviously a cover artist, because she did the cover. Dirso. Art by Matt Groom, I believe. Matt Groom, I believe, is the artist. And then, although I never saw a solicitation for it, I mean, it definitely wasn't offered on Discount Public Service. And it is a ratio. I don't usually go for ratios, but the 1 in 25 Inferno Girl Red has the Eleonora Carlini variant that they had as they originally had Inferno Girl Red about a year ago, kickstarted as just one hardcover graphic novel that you could get in a Kickstarter, and it had a print of the Eleonora Carlini cover, which imagine it saying Inferno Glow Red, kind of a slanted logo here, with a beam coming down from the giant uh, radiant black robot, with the character kind of getting incinerated by the beam down here. That's the best as I can describe it. They've had one for Radiant Black, Radiant Red, Rogue Sun, Dead Lucky. So they've had, and there's going to be another one coming up in April's issue of Radiant Black to kind of bookend it all. These Eleonora Carlini variants. So they do have a 1 in 25 of issue 1 that I did not know about at the time. It was on sale at Things from Another World, but I didn't know there was going to be one because I never saw it in any of the solicitations until the week this book came out when I saw people talking about it coming out and they showed it picture flash over the screen. I'm like, I need one of those. So I'm gonna have to do the eBay route maybe in a couple months when it's not like a $70 1 in 25 as it is right now. I'm paying $70. Here is for the second week in a row we have Batman One Bad Day. This one being the Catwoman, and this is cover F by Giuseppe Camuncoli and Arif Prianto. They're doing all of the uh, premium uh, premium villain variants. Always premium, yeah. But yeah, uh, I'm not sure where Bane ended up, but yeah, Bane came out the third week, and this came out in the fourth week. This was supposed to be out in December. If you look at any book in December, it will show the the full page ad for Catwoman coming December. Got pushed, and they ended up coming out back to back weeks. And I think there's a skip month now in February with no One Bad Day, and then March is no. I guess next month is Clayface, and then the last one is Raj Al Ghul. Here's Dead Seas #2. Cover is by Martin Simmons. That's awesome. The solicitation showed it is coming as Kelly Jones. I think they had the solicitations off by a month or something because the first issue was by Kelly Jones, the C cover. This cover C, clearly by Martin Simmons. It's a pretty awesome cover. Sometimes Simmons has it, sometimes it doesn't. But if I'm ever talking about Simmons and I don't see his name, like clearly there where it says it, Simmons, I'll be like, oh, the Department of Truth bags. I can't remember anyone's name for more than 10 minutes of my life. So the thing about Dead Seas, in December solicits and on discount summer service, it wasn't in the order form. Uh, so I didn't order a copy. So and then this month's thing, they're up to 4, and I couldn't snatch a copy off Billy on Economics and Comics because FOC had already passed and it was already sold out on Things from Another World. So I'm just gonna just live with having issue 1 and 2 of the Dead Seas, and then maybe check out the trade from the library in the future. But I'm super glad I at least got this awesome Martin Simmons variant. Sweet. I like the first issue okay. Let's hope that one's not like super. Whoa, that's great, and I have to figure out somebody to continue collecting. I'll read that pretty quickly so I can add 4 to this month's order if I do feel like I'm gonna try to find 3. Here is the Boogeyman. This is issue #5, penultimate issue of the Boogeyman at Ablaze by Matthew Saliba and Dijet. This has been a surprise for me. I just got it because it sounded like a cool idea. It's kind of like the Boogeyman in your closet meets John Wick, kind of. Like it has like John Wick has the League of Assassins, and this has like the League of Boogeymen, you know. And the Boogeyman in this boy's closet is the John Wick of the Boogeyman. He's quit for a long time, and then now he's being pulled back in. Here's Creepshow #5. This is the B cover. And this, the aforementioned Kelly Jones from Dead Seas is doing this B cover on Creepshow #5. I never saw this one in solicits. This cover is first time I'm laying eyes on this. And it looks awesome. Sometimes Kelly Jones does a pretty awesome cover, but as of late, not as often as not. But this one really hits. Good cover, Kelly. Nice job. Here is cover B to Sergeant Rock versus the Army of the Dead by Francisco Francavilla with the zombie Nazi general. This is still the enemy. This is still the enemy. Let's put him back in the ground. I'm on Francisco's IG, or I subscribe to his IG. I see a lot. He puts up artwork every single day, multiple times a day, and he has 5 adorable new kittens that you must subscribe to his Instagram to see several times a week because they're beautiful. Tuxedo, they're beautiful. Here is Detective Comics issue 1070, 1068, 1068. And this one I guess is cool because it's Two-Face, and then it has 2 artists. Maybe it's the next issue that's this way. Whoa, definitely. Well, I see Danny art in here. It's supposed to be the backup story. Yeah, to be continued. Okay. Oh wow! I won't spoil that. All right, here we go. This is what I was told about. And the sweaters have said it will have 2 face pages that are half by Albuquerque and half by Ivan Rice. The whole issue is going to be like this page by Rice, this page by Albuquerque, you know. But it's like split dealio there. Yeah, that's a bummer. Only 2. That's a what do you call it? Huh. That's what do you call it? That's false advertising, man, on the solicit at least. But solicits lie a lot. But yeah, yeah. This backup has art by Danny. I really enjoy. Danny's like a mix of like reminds me of stuff you would see in the Sandman, mixed with like Sin City Frank Miller. It's very interesting style. Who's the writer on this? Has a huge preview of Simon Spurrier and Danny. That's the back stories, and then it has 7 pages of the start of the One Bad Day Bane in the back. At least they're jacking you for an extra dollar in here for backup stories, but this one didn't seem to have. I saw maybe 2 ads flipping through that, and it had 3 different stories in there. This one is probably well worth your $4. It's $5. Well worth your $5 this month. That's Detective 1068. Plush number 3. Plush number 3. Cover B by Tony Fleece. Looking forward to getting back into this world. You either get it or you don't when it comes to Daniel Hilliard and Doug Wagner. Uh, if you were someone who got into Doug Wagner from Beware the Eye of Odin, this book probably isn't for you. Because if you're into more high fantasy Conan type of stuff, this is more sick and twisted serial killer absurdity type of stuff. I say if you're more into like John Lee's Sink, you'd probably be more into a plush. But if you are into a plush, if you have been enjoying this, definitely check out Plastic and Vinyl from the same creative team. We're gonna end up under an hour on this video, slightly under an hour, pretty much. But here is Star Wars: The Blade issue number 2. This is cover B, maybe C. Let's see. No, cover B by David Lopez. That's awesome cover. That one. And the second. Miniseries from the first series called Trail of Shadows, I just remembered. And last book from this one is The Scorched, issue number 14. This is the David Mack variant. I got all Spawn titles this month because I like David Mack art. Uh, but the last David Mack cover actually doesn't come out till next week, which is week 2 of February. And that is a Spawn cover by David Mack. Sean Lewis art in here is by Steven Segovia. I believe he's drawn this entire series thus far. I have 1 through 11, and now I have 14. I have to rustle up 12 and 13, but I'm gonna start buying it monthly again for a few months now, because the covers in the following month were all the covers in the next month are by what's his name? He did the Ghost Boxer story for Astonishing X-Men. It's not Bermejo. I'll remember it here. What's that guy's name? I don't know his name. Yeah. Here's what's in this box. I'm really excited about this. Pre-ordered this back in October. This is the Dark Knight's Metal Omnibus. This contains the whole enchilada. I believe 26 issues in here. The entire Dark Knight's saga and all the tie-in stories from this epic event. So it includes the 2 lead-in issues, the 6-issue miniseries. There's like 8. I mean, excuse me, the burps again. 7 dark Batman one-shots. A couple 4-part stories that ran through Justice League, Flash, and Teen Titans, etc., and a few more one-shots. I have probably a good half plus of the floppies for Metal that I've been collecting since I've been back in the hobby. And I read Metal back when it first hit the library. It was back in 2018. I think the original Metal came out in 2017, so probably late 2018 when I got my hands on all the trades. It was a nice day because my library got all the trades in on the same day, which rarely ever happens. So I was able to like sit back and because I had read the miniseries. Because if you read 1 through 6, some of the tie-ins actually take place in between the issues, which is par for the course with Scott Snyder, but more par for the course with someone like Jonathan Hickman. If you ever collect Jonathan Hickman, at least omnibus wise, at least Jonathan Hickman puts his omnibuses in reading order, which is really helpful, especially with Jonathan Hickman. Let's see how DC maps this omnibus really quick on camera before we leave you. So hopefully they have it in story order and not just the miniseries up front and all the tie-ins in the back, because then I don't have to jump around while I read it. So I've seen overviews for this on New Mint Condition and Gem Mint, but I've avoided to look at them. So I wanted to look at it in my hands for the first time. There's here's the inside of the dust. All the logos of the Dark Multiverse Batman. That looks awesome. The Dark Knights are coming, and with them, the true father of Batman. It's kind of misleading. The true father of Batman, I guess, would be Barbados. Here's the inside of the book. Cool. It has like this metally thing. This is the same inside of the book that the Absolute Dark Knight's Metal, which only includes the 60 miniseries and 2 tie-ins in that Absolute edition. When I mean, come on, the Sandman Absolutes have 20 issues each, and this is like 26 issues, I think. They could have easily fit all of Metal into a Absolute, which I would have definitely bought. But to get all of the all right, awesome. Uh, it is mapped in in story order. So it has the first two specials. It has chapter 1 and chapter 2 of the miniseries, and then the Gotham Resistance, which all takes place before, and then the Red Death, and then the Murder Machine, the Dawnbreaker, the Drown, the Merciless, all of this before issue 3. I'm not sure if that's how it's really. Yeah, it's not mapped 100% correctly, but but yeah, I will read it as it comes in here. Lost, middle chapter 4, Found, middle chapter 5, Wild Hunt, middle chapter 6 with Dakota, and then it has, looks like about, whew, 60 pages of extras in the back. Nice. So, yeah, I enjoy this. This is, I forgot to mention, this is Scott Snyder with Greg Capullo and Jonathan Glapian. This is their DC event that came out in 2017, and there was a follow-up event entitled Death Metal that came out in 2020 and concluded in January of 2021. That I think was not quite the equal of the original metal. Uh, yeah, I like metal. That's why I got myself the omnibus. Anyway, looking forward to these new books. My next box of Discount Comic Book Service is ready for shipment. It hasn't got the label yet. It isn't out yet. I'm not sure if it's coming uh, FedEx or UPS yet. That's always, if it comes UPS, it doesn't matter. No matter how it ships out, you probably won't be seeing a video from me again until next week. Uh, and then I should be also be getting shipments from Billy at Economics and Comics. I've made a couple purchases there. I got issue 4 of Speechless, which is Ivan Tao. I ordered that. And then I did a FOC pre-order for the first week of February. But I think one of the books was pushed to the second week, so that'll probably ship next week. So, and then I have a couple books coming from Black Box Comics that I heard about online. But I'm not sure if they've both come out yet. But I'm not going to receive that package until 1 and 2 have been published, I presume. And then I have 3, 4, and 5 coming from Discount Comic Book Service. That series is called The Dream Master. Uh, and based on the covers, that might be an artist who's going to be like, makes me think, good stuff, good stuff. And The Dream Master is by the creator of The Recount. That was from Scout, but now he's with Black Box for Dream Master. Black Box, what else have they done? They did The Devil's Dominion, which I have that miniseries. I have not read it. I think I read the first 2 and then decided to wait. And then I never received 5, so I had to eventually buy it directly from Black Box earlier this year. I mean, late last year. It might have even been summer of last year. My time goes crazy. I'm gonna let you guys all go. Thanks for sitting through all this. I want to know in the comments, like I said, would you prefer me to do separated review videos and then just dedicated unboxings, or do you prefer it all together like this, or no preference? Let me know. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything. I unbox comics every week, if possible, uh, and I review the ones I read. So that's what I do on my channel. Uh, and outside of comics, I like this guy here. Rest in peace. This is Mark Lanigan. And the bassist for his original band, Screaming Trees, also has just passed away in January. Van Connor, R.I.P. Half of the Mighty Screaming Trees have passed. Rest in power, you guys. I hope you're up there searching for drummers and rocking your ass up there with Kurt and Lane. Uh, let's hope so. All right, everybody, take care. We'll see you in the next video, Everybody take care.